Good evening, Gavin.
Good evening, TC, and welcome all to our weekly podcast, Terry Curran's Curran View with the Oily Billsborough. Mr. Terry Curran, steady away, son, how are you?
Well, a little bit better, still not right. Maybe
Yeah.
another week would have been better, but I'm a lot brighter than what I was.
Absolutely, T. I'm just watching on the TV Manchester City at Leipzig, and I thought that was a great touch from Guardiola. He went up to all his former teammates and gave them a hug before the game. He's playing against them tonight, and Man City always seem to be drawn against Leipzig Red Bull, don't they? So it looks to be a cracking game. Been a lot of cracking games recently, T. What have you sourced for us in the Magic Moments department?
I know we say it every week, but it is very, very difficult to pick one. But I'm going for the goal last night, Thomason's for Lens against Arsenal.
Okay.
Is it Wahi? W-A-H-I, Wahi. Controlled it sublime on his chest, laid it off to him, and he just bent it right into the right-hand side from the left-hand side to get Lens back into it. But he looks a right player, that Wahi. I mean, I could have picked Jack Clark's goal against Sheffield Wednesday on Friday night, but
goal.
That's the one I've gone for. I mean, there's plenty of great goals again.
Lots of goals going in at Old Trafford as well, too, and most of them not for Manchester United. We did mention on the last podcast that we did, of course, we didn't do one last week, but Taxi for Ten Hag, I mean, that taxi really is revving up his engine, isn't it?
Well, it is. Well, I mean, one thing about Liverpool and Manchester United, they do give people more time than a lot of other football clubs. They're not. They don't look a great side. They look a decent side.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was someone lucky against Arsenal the other week. I mean, when you look at it last night, they had enough chances to put that game to bed.
Yeah, to be fair, I was watching
but
Napoli.
there's always a mistake in them.
Yeah.
I mean, the goalkeeper again, and another silly mistake. So it's not just him. But, I mean, I'm not one for criticising players, but I've never been a big Lindelof fan, me.
No, I don't. I think he's a space cadet, to be truthful. And I think this goalkeeper, what I've seen of him, and I've not seen an awful lot, but he certainly doesn't look to be an upgrade on De Gea. I think he's, I just think they've
Nowhere near.
Another pig in a poke, to be fair to you.
I mean, you can go on, Roy Keane and all them can go on about De Gea. Yes, he has made mistakes. I mean, the guy didn't look bad at AC Milan, but you're not seeing AC Milan week in, week out like you do see the Premier League games. But he looks very vulnerable.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was watching Napoli versus Real Madrid last night. I thought it was a cracking game. Bellingham scored a good goal. I did see on TalkSport, their Facebook pages, that it's a Puskas Award goal. And I'm looking at it and I'm going, you're having a laugh, aren't you? We talk up far better goals every week in the Curran View. That was a good goal, but whenever Bellingham does something, the smoke that's blown out of his backside's unbelievable. And I'll lay you a penny to a pound, most didn't watch that game.
Yeah. Listen, I think he's a good player.
I do as well.
Again, I can remember saying to you when he played in that game at Portsmouth. You were fuming because of playing far too many kids.
Yeah.
But I'll agree with this. He's not a Gascoigne where he's a box-to-box player, isn't he?
He's a Lampard, isn't he? He's like a Frank Lampard type of player. Good player. I think he'll score a lot of goals. I like the kid. I think he's a really good player.
When they start to say that, he's going to be bigger than Zidane.
Well, I mean, I just think it's absolute rubbish and garbage. But again, it's the media and it's the press, and they drive a narrative, and people that don't really watch him week in, week out will jump onto the bandwagon and beg his belief.
Whoever they want to push. I mean,
100%.
When you look at it, to push a lot of players, but they're very good players, but
absolutely.
they're not match winners, really. And having said that, Bellingham is scoring goals, but
he is.
It's not someone who's going to get you out of his seat.
No, I mean, he's no Zinedine Zidane. In fact, he couldn't lace Zinedine's boots. But again, it's all opinions. Liverpool, we don't talk about VAR, but I just want to touch up on it. before I go into my magic moments. Last Super Sunday wasn't particular super. On Saturday night, we watched Tottenham take on Liverpool, and another howler from VAR. Klopp now has come out, he's seen the audio, well, he's heard the audio. He thinks the game should be replayed. My attitude is, you're having a laugh. If we replayed every game where VAR makes a mistake, you would never ever finish a season. What's your opinion, T?
My opinion of all this is not the first
No,
mistake.
it's not. No, it's not.
And it's not a human error that they're all pushing. They are seeing that 20, 30, 40, 50, maybe 60 times before they give a decision. Right? They're not seeing it first time and having to make a decision.
No, it's all.
They're seeing it after replays.
Multiples.
So there's something not right here. And if we don't start to punish these type of incidents right, we're going to keep giving them. You know, they give all sorts of excuses. I know I keep bringing it up. They give all sorts of excuses.
I know they do.
For the goal at Villa Park, when Sheffield United scored there, they hadn't got the cameras, but Sky got it. So why couldn't they look at Sky's camera?
I have no idea. I don't know what goes on. I mean, this season so far, we've seen a number of referees in the VAR box at Stockley Park suspended for the next game because of an error that they've made. They're making them week in, week out. And I go back, if we started replaying games for errors by VAR officials, we would never, ever finish a season. I think Klopp's coming out with the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard. And if I go back, I do post a lot on the Chelsea website, certainly one, groups rather, Blue is the colour, I'd posted recently, and there was a piece on there about with Chelsea when Lukaku was ruled offside in the the League Cup or the FA Cup final the other season, and they're absolutely right. Lukaku was onside, but the goal wasn't given against Liverpool, and Liverpool went on and won the cup. Now what they're going to do? Replay that cup final. And, where do you draw the line? Where you draw the line is you play the game of football, a decision is a decision, and you move on whether it's right or wrong. And the referees are the worst they've ever been in my watching of football.
It's a joke. It's gone past a joke now.
Crazy.
Yeah, it has. It's gone past a joke. Because what anybody says to me, it's corruption. Because that's my opinion. I'm entitled to have my opinion.
Of course you are. Absolutely. Everybody's entitled to your opinion.
A human error is having to make a decision there and then.
Yeah.
A human error isn't when you see it 30, 40, 50 times.
And also, if we go back, when VAR was first, brought out, we had the World Cup, and then after that World Cup, we had VAR in this country, in the Premier League. And they said, we're not going to re-referee games. Well, I'm sorry, you are. They said, we're only going to be looking at clear and obvious. Well, you're not. And if they went back to clear and obvious, and they went back to the offside and the handball intent, it's got to be intent, not ball to hand, intent, which we used to in the olden days. And let's have daylight between the players. And if you had daylight between the players, you wouldn't be looking at all these decisions, because if a part of your body is onside, you'd be onside. So you take away all the confusion. They've created balls of confusion, and you're right, T. For what reason?
Brilliantly covered.
Yeah.
But every year when I played for 12 years, we used to get referees come in with new rules of offside and handball. For what? What? How many rules can you have for an handball or an offside?
I have no idea. They just try and complicate it all the time. I don't know.
Why confuse the matter?
I don't know. I find it unbelievable.
I hear them saying that what they used to do in our day, the referee would come in pre-season and go through the new offside rule and the new handball. We used to say, and they used to say to us, it's no good for us neither.
Yeah.
So what's it done for? Is it done to cause controversy, or is it done to improve decision making throughout the game? Because It's never done that. All it's done is cause controversy.
Absolutely, I don't think there's any improvement in any of these rules. It's just added more confusion, more controversy, and the right hand don't know what the left hand's doing.
It's disappointing, Gab, because I don't give
Yeah,
a
it
damn
is
whether you're a Tottenham fan or you're a Liverpool fan.
100% same.
And
Yeah.
I'm not into all that. All them who hate Liverpool or hate Tottenham, whoever it is, that's okay. Good. Right? But let's have a look at it. And that is a bad decision.
100%.
And the game itself was a great game to watch.
Yeah, it was, yeah. I mean, again, we've watched so many games and we've looked at an offside and we've gone, he's definitely onside. And they've given him off. And you thought, well, he's offside and they've given him on. And we just don't know what's going on. And to be fair, I don't think they know what's going on. The inconsistency of referees in real time this season, last season, has been an embarrassment.
How can they justify getting it wrong?
I don't know.
You know, inside a room watching a replay after a replay. Yeah. How can they justify getting it wrong?
I have no idea. Tell you.
How can the one
yeah.
stick up for them saying human error? What is he? A human error is making a decision there and then.
Absolutely, yeah.
Not watching it 3 or 4 times. Well,
no, that's gross stupidity and incompetence. Yeah.
You know.
Gross stupidity and incompetence, that's what I put it down to. Magic moments, what I've sourced. Porrick Ammon's goal for Woking against Fylde.
Great goal.
I mean, that was probably one of the best free kicks that I've seen. Fabulous. Jake Robinson's goal for Worthing against Whitehook in the
unbelievable. FA Cup. Yeah. Gabby, before I went into hospital, I went to watch Jock at Horbury played Armthorpe.
Yeah.
And I saw 2 unbelievable goals at that level of football.
Yeah.
Coming in from left hand side, bending it right into the top corner. You know, with the crossbar goes along and the post comes down, right into that. And then there was another one where the ball was played up to the centre forward. His touch was sublime, and he chipped the keeper.
Yeah.
You know, a very difficult angle to chip. The keeper from where he was to get it. I know you're not going to see those goals, but even at every level now, I'm seeing goals, which I think to myself, eventually they'll post them up, and I'll post them onto the Curran View wall.
Yeah.
But they're unbelievable, and both those goals that you just spoke about, incredible.
Riccardo Orsolini's hat-trick for Bologna against Empoli in Serie A. I do like to watch Serie A, and I think TNT's coverage of Serie A is absolutely fantastic. And I've got to say, he's second.
I'm trying to think there's a player for Napoli last night. He played one of the best balls I've ever seen in my life, and I've seen some absolutely unbelievable balls.
Was it Zielinski?
Is that what his name? It was an unbelievable ball.
There's, there is just some superb football in Serie A. I've got to say as well, Tom Kearney's pass when he megged that player as well, I thought it was a fabulous bit of skill. And Ollie Watkins' hat-trick for Aston Villa against Brighton. Surely now Ollie deserves a call-up. And I'm at Villa Park tomorrow night watching European football. It'll be the first time I've seen a European game live. So well done, Ollie Watkins. And Gareth Southgate was there. He has to call him up, surely. Certainly in front of Eddie Nketiah.
No point in calling people if you're not going to give.
Well, that's your problem.
Are they friendlies, or is it?
No,
competitive.
I've lost an awful lot of interest. I know that there is some international games. I got no idea we're playing Italy at Wembley, which will be a decent game.
No point in calling these players up, because we've already know what the other players can do. If it's a friendly, then we throw them in. Throw them in against one of the top teams, but throw them in. Don't make too many changes, so it gives them a chance to shine.
Yeah.
You know, that's what disappoints me with all that type of thing.
Super Classico was this week too. Boca Juniors versus River Plate. River ran out 2-0 winners against Boca. What an atmosphere at that game. Phenomenal.
Celtic's gone 1-0, but it looks of it.
Yeah, they're playing Lazio tonight, aren't they?
All those games are unbelievable.
And I want to give a shout out.
Atmosphere-wise, anyway.
Oh, yeah, I want to give a shout out as well to, on Facebook and Twitter, Mystery Football Weekends. Are you familiar with these, T?
No.
I wasn't until Tom come home and he said, I'm going on one of these mystery football weekends. You pay 299 quid and they send you to a game. You don't know. That's why it's called mystery. You just get there. They give you the ticket. You could be Napoli, could be AC Milan, you could be wherever. It's a mystery, and it includes overnight stay in the hotel or the transport, and obviously a match day ticket as well. 299 quid. A great little concept. I'm really looking forward to watching many of these, because again the fans go there and then they give their input and you see all the atmosphere at the grounds, etc., etc. And football is a global game now, and when you think about, if you go to, I mean, I'm going to Villa Park tomorrow night. To go into the lower grounds, it's 60 quid just to get in there. You can eat and drink as much as what you like, but 60 quid to go in there. It's 30 quid for my ticket. So that, and then you have a program. It's almost 100 quid. You're probably looking, with a couple of beers, probably looking about 150 quid if you were going into that lower grounds. For 299 quid, you can go half-ride around the world and enjoy a couple of nights stay in a hotel as well.
So on top of that, if you were taking your son or your
Yeah,
girlfriend, your wife,
absolutely.
your
Yeah,
daughter,
yeah.
becomes 300 quid. It's incredible how football and how popular it's become. Well, money makes everything popular, doesn't it?
It does, but I just don't understand how people can afford to do that.
Neither
Because
neither can I.
I just think it's absolutely, with that, with a mystery football weekend, it's a one-off. You're going to go and do it, great. But when you're supporting your own team, you're a season ticket holder and you have to pay all the, especially just to go in to have a beer and something to eat. I mean, if it's corporate, I get that, but for your normal working class brummies on the old end, I think it's a disgrace. So I'm going to have a look at that tomorrow, and we'll be talking about it in the current view next week. TC at the races, we didn't mention that great post picture that you posted up on your Facebook and your Twitter accounts, T, and the official Facebook and Twitter accounts, guys. Terry Curran _11 and Terry Curran on Facebook. We're rebranding it to where people can join your online fan club and they get access to the current view. 10% off your merchandise in the shop, srbmedia.co.uk/shop. And you can also pose a question for TC and engage in the podcast. So that's for £5, just over £1 a week, and you can access that by going on to Terry Curran's official Facebook and Twitter accounts.
Yep. So we can get a few people joining it and help us all out.
Absolutely. What was the day like at the races? Because you joined up with a few of the old Forest boys, didn't you?
Yeah, I got a phone call from Mick West, and he said one or two lads asked me for to try and get me down because they hadn't seen me for a long time. Great day, but I got something else on, so I went about 11 o'clock and left around about 3 o'clock. Great to catch up with Ian Boyer, Kenny Burns, John O'Hare, Alan Hill, Gary Mills. So was there Colin Barrett?
Storymore was there as well, wasn't
Ian
he?
Storymore there, yeah. So I had a great day. Obviously, played with some great players what played with Forest and all. So what played at Forest, I should say.
Absolutely, and of course, Storymore has got a book coming out. Yeah, give more the ball, he will score. We have done podcasts with Ian Storymore. You can access them all on how you access your podcast, whether it's Acast or Spotify, etc., etc. But the easiest way to get all of our podcasts is become a patron. All the w's.patreon.com/SRB Media, and Chris has done a great job. If you go on to the different areas, he's compiled all the Terry Curran stuff, all of Alan Hudson stuff, all of the legends of the 70s. So there's various areas that you can go to and access the podcast. And I'm going to catch up with Storymore and get his starting 11 So I'm looking forward to listening to Ian Storymore and him picking an 11 of players that he's played with.
Yeah, that'd be very good because he's played with some great, great players. It'll be interesting to see or look at the team and the formation he would play.
Yeah, because again, as you've alluded to, T, he played for a great Forest team.
Oh,
He played with. I mean, when you look at the players that Storymore has played with, he played with.
Newcastle's gone 1-0, by the way.
Oh, okay. He played with Best Law and Charlton, didn't he? Although now I
Yeah, I
think
mean
Bobby,
that's
I think may have
incredible. Got
retired.
to get that dream move to Man United and get such a bad injury.
Yeah, I think to be fair, if I'm looking at it, no, he didn't. He moved in 1972, of course. So yeah, it would have been Best Law and Charlton. I mean,
Yes, it was.
how can you pick any other players in the forward line apart from them three? I mean, that's the Manchester United trilogy. And while we're in the trilogy,
I think when that didn't come off with Ian getting injured, I think they bought Willie Morgan then.
no, I think Willie was already there.
Was he?
Yeah, I think
Right.
Willie was already there. But in the latest issue of Back Pass, issue number 86 for autumn of 2023, the ex-pro panel, Ian Storymore here has picked his British 11, so well worth the read this month. Well, the latest issue of Back Pass is out now with Ian Storymore picking his ex-pro panel, his 11, alongside Dennis Stewart and
Another great winger.
David Gibson. I'm not familiar with that name.
Fullback.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm
Man
not.
United.
Oh, right, okay. But again, going back to that United term, I mean, what a joy that must have been playing with them three, Best Law and Charlton.
Yeah. When I said Gibson, there was a Gibson playing with Man United. Not back then when it was when Robbo and all them were playing that Gibson.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that, but David Gibson here, well, he certainly played for Leicester City because he's there in the
Different one.
1963.
I'm thinking of a different one.
Yeah, he's there in the 1963 FA Cup final with semi-final win over Liverpool at Hillsborough. Liverpool have a history of playing at Hillsborough in semi-finals.
Yeah.
Sadly, the last time that they played there, it was absolutely awful, and there has been a lot of silliness, I think, on social media with victims and Liverpool. Let's move away from that. You know, when people start singing horrible songs and
Or it is
yeah,
on. I
yeah,
know.
printing stuff like that, it really is filth. So where Simon Jordan actually had to not apologise, but on his show today, qualify what he was saying because he does use the word victim, and I think lots of people do use the word victim, and sometimes it gets misconstrued. So in no way does anybody in the right mind put what's going on with Liverpool at the moment to the victims and the Hillsborough tragedy and Heysel as well. Moving on to Book Corner in association with myfootballbooks.com. First book out today, Liam Brady, Born to be a Footballer, which does come out later this month. I am doing another podcast with Andy, our football book podcast, which will be out next week. But Liam Brady, Born to be a Footballer, what a footballer he was, wasn't he? What a left
Great
foot.
player. Absolutely great player. And someone what Jack disregarded when he went to become Republic of Ireland manager.
Yes, he did, didn't he? Yeah. Quite incredible. But was he a Jack Charlton kind of player?
No, well, two things. I don't think Liam would adjust to Jack's way of playing.
No, not at all.
And you shouldn't expect him to, because totally opposite to that way of playing.
Yeah.
Completely a ball player.
Yeah. Yeah, when you're playing Liam Brady in midfield, you've got to get Liam on the ball. Kenny Burns always used to say about Liam Brady, you could open a tin of peas with that left foot. What a player! Born to be a footballer. A book coming out later this month. Andy always gives us a recommendation, and it was a couple of weeks ago, and it's Eternal. an intimate portrait of Manchester United's lost genius by Wayne Barton, and that is about the great Duncan Edwards. I've also got 2 books about Duncan Edwards. The Full Report by Ian McCartney, foreword by Harry Gregg, and James Layton has written a book, Duncan Edwards, the Greatest. So there's 3 books there on the great Duncan Edwards, arguably the greatest of all time. And when I do hear about Bellingham, it could be the greatest of all time, I think, come on, give your heads a wobble, lads. When you look at some of the great players that we've had, the likes of Edwards, the likes of Charlton, the likes of George Best, all of them players, and they look at this kid and think, he could be the greatest of all time. Oh, come on, I'm not buying that. I'm just not having it. But Duncan Edwards, arguably, was the greatest of all time and could play anyone on a football pitch too, couldn't he?
Lots of top players spoke very highly of him. So I never saw him play, so I can only judge the players who I saw play. But when you get the great players talk about him, he's got to be up there with them on the wall.
Absolutely. Well, Alex Ferguson says he's the greatest British player of all time. And he said, I've never seen him play. But if Bobby Charlton said he's the greatest, then he's the greatest. And another player of that ilk, the great John Charles, Leeds United and Juventus, Wales. What a player. I remember Big Ron saying to me, if you could put a player, all the ingredients in a machine to make the perfect football player, it would come out as John Charles.
Yeah, Big Ron loved John, didn't he?
Ah, he did. He said, in fact, he was at a do with, there was Robbo, I think Viv Anderson and Big Norman Whiteside, and they were taking the Michael out of Big John Charles, and Big Ron said, "Oi, you and you is better than you and you put together. So zip it." And Robbo and Viv Anderson and Big Norm zipped it. Yeah, absolutely. 2 fantastic players. And the Cup, we've just witnessed the latest FA Cup fixtures with the non-league. Now the Conference National League teams are going into the FA Cup, so it's coming towards the first round proper. But the Cup by Richard Whitehead, a fantastic book. It does say that it's pictorial, but although it is, there's some fantastic stories in there. It's a celebration of 150 years of the FA Cup by Richard Whitehead, and I have done a podcast with Richard. So if you access the podcast as you do, or all the w's.patreon.com/SRB Media, the Cup, and he called it the Cup, not the FA Cup, because in old money we used to just say it's the Cup. And it started, of course, before the League Cup. There was literally only one cup in those days, too, wasn't there?
Yeah. Well, there were back then. Even though we call it the Cup,
yeah,
it had all that stigma about it. The league weren't as important as the FA Cup, was it? Because the build-up and everything for the FA Cup over the years. Yeah. And I mean, it's sad. It's so sorry to see. Sad, I should say. Sorry, it's sad to see the demise of the FA Cup.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one cup that it was given a lid to keep all the magic in it, and for most of us, the FA Cup or the Cup is still a magic tournament. And unfortunately, there's lots of clubs that don't recognise it for what it is and disrespect it. Rest in peace, Francis. We lost Francis Lee a couple of days ago. TC, another great that's passed away, sadly.
Yeah,
City have just took the lead.
I mean, one of the best strikers out. Make no mistake on it. What comes into your mind? Him diving clipping his ankles to get the penalties. And he was better than any of that, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
The Norman Hunter fight for Derby County, but at Manchester City, an unbelievable striker. Absolutely joy to watch as a kid.
It is quite incredible because, as I just mentioned, Francis Lee, Phil Foden come across the defender and just smashed one into Leipzig's net. So whether Francis had got anything to do with that, because of course he scored a goal against Zornik, was it Gornik Zagreb in the final, or it was certainly a Gornik side, wasn't it, that Manchester City beat in the Cup Winners' Cup final of 1970.
And to listen to the rest of this podcast, head on over to www.patreon.com/SRB Media. Thank you.